Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Taylor Combaluzier, a mining analyst at Red Cloud Securities, Inc. Today's webinar focuses on Telson Mining. Telson is a Canadian-based mining company with two 100% owned Mexican gold, silver, and base metal mining projects. The company is currently undergoing a significant transformation, most recently announcing a restructuring of its board of directors and corporate rebranding, and it also entered into a significant financing package to fund the completion of its Tahueto gold project, which is expected to reach initial production by the end of the year. The company also owns the operating Campo Morado polymetallic base metal mine, where it is undertaking operational improvements. Today I have on the webinar with me Ralph Shearing, CEO, President, and Director of Telson Mining. The format for today's webinar will be comprised of two parts. In the first part, Ralph will provide an introduction to Telson, including an overview of its Campo Morado and Tahueto assets and what investors have to look forward to in the coming months as it executes on its transformation strategy to become Mexico's next mid-tier metals producer. In the second part, we'll take your questions live. So please send us your questions via the chat and we'll get to as many as we can. And I'll note that you can type in the questions to the chat box at any time. To start, we'll handle the disclosures and then get into the presentation. So for Telson Mining, there may be some forward-looking statements made on this call. I would direct listeners to the cautionary note on page 2 of the Telson corporate presentation located on the company's website. For Red Cloud Securities, Inc., I would highlight that this webinar is for information purposes only and should not be considered a solicitation to purchase or sell securities or a recommendation to buy or sell securities. And we note that this call does not take into account the particular situation or needs of individual investors. Participants should rely on their own investigations and seek their own professional advice before investing. Please see our most recent research located on our website for Telson Mining specific disclosures. So now I'll turn it over to Ralph to update you on Telson Mining and what investors have to look forward to with this company.
Thank you, Taylor, and welcome everybody. Thank you for joining. I'm going to give you a quick rundown on the company and its assets, and hope to convince you that Telson presents a great opportunity to get involved with the developing mid-tier producer over the coming months. So we hope to have you as a shareholder in our company very soon. So first slide just shows you that several Tahueto project on the left, Campo Morado on the right, and we are building Mexico's next mid-tier metals producer. Taylor's already talked about the forward-looking statements, so here they are. Please refer to them. I won't spend a lot of time there. I'll just carry on. And this introduces the projects. So we have two projects. Our flagship Tahueto project is up in northwestern Durango here, and Campo Morado is down in Guerrero here. So Tahueto is a gold project that we are currently in construction. Our company is fully financed for growth to complete the construction at Tahueto. We have low-cost expansion opportunities at both of our mines, and we're optimizing the mines, especially in Campo Morado right now, increasing cash flows, increasing production. We have near-term organic growth potential on both projects. We have lots of excellent exploration potential to increase resources and reserves in our district-scale projects. So talking about Tahueto, it's a 100% owned project. We're building a 1,000 ton per day underground mining operation. It's approximately 60% complete. Proven and probable reserves are around 613,000 ounces at gold equivalent at a gold equivalent grade of 5.84 grams per ton. So it's a high grade gold project. M&I resources, 995,000 tons at 4.86 gold equivalent. And we have 42,000 ounces of gold equivalent production on a yearly basis out of our cash flow modeling with an all-in sustaining cost of around just over $800 per gold equivalent ounce. 9-year mine life in the measured and indicated, in the proven, the probable resources. And if you add in the measured and indicated resources, we have up to a 20-year mine life just with increasing the M&I resources into a reserve category. Campo Morado, it's the 6th largest zinc producer in Mexico at this point in time. It's an underground mining operation, currently producing at 2,200 tons per day, approximately. M&I resources over 5 billion pounds of zinc equivalent at 14 0.15 zinc equivalent grade. Now, it's important to note that we have a lot of precious metals in this project, but it is difficult recoveries. I'll talk a little bit about that as we move on. So over 30 million pounds of payable zinc per year, and a C1 cash cost of around $1 per pound of zinc. Current 7 years in our current mine life of mine plan, and with M&I Resources over 20 years. So we're really moving Telson into Mexico's next mid-tier diversified metals producer. So our investment highlights: we have stable, growing cash flow at Campo Morado. Currently, we generated $2 million in EBITDA for April. We've been improving over the past 3 quarters. We have a pathway to expand production from 2,000 to 3,000 tons per day with a flotation circuit that's 80% complete. We plan on looking to bring that into production late this year, early next year. We're exploring improvements for increasing our precious metal recoveries and base metal recoveries. We're really giving a full court press to the metallurgy on Campo Morado to try to solve some of the difficulty in our recoveries, especially with precious metals. And with exploration potential gives us a pathway to potentially increase this mine, double the size over a long mid to long-term basis in the next 3 to 5 years. Will require exploration success. Tabahueto, we're fully funded we just announced a $25 million funding. We've completed over half of that now. Documentation is in process to finalize the last amount. Construction 60% complete, and we expect initial production by the end of 2021, producing around 42,000 ounces of gold equivalent on a yearly basis, 9-year mine life. And again, the resource base supports a potential 20-year mine life with a path to increase reserves and resources with exploration success. So Telson's about to be re-rated as a high-growth precious metal producer. Currently, we're a zinc producer, but once Tabahueto gets in production, we will be achieving 59% of our revenues from precious metals. We're currently trading at 2.6 times enterprise value over EBITDA, which is 80% below Mexican polymetallic metal producers. So we have a lot of room to catch up over the coming months as we realize our goals. Moving on to the next slide, increasing precious metal production. You can see to 2021 to 2022, we're going to be going up to about 97,000 ounces of gold equivalent. Again, that's all metals. And in 2021, we are primarily a zinc producer, the little pie chart on the left there. And in 2022, once Tabahueto is in production, 47% will be gold production, 12% silver. So we'll be about 59% precious metals, which will really give us that re-rating to be known as a precious metal producer. As we've mentioned, we have secured a way forward for 100% of our project financing. We've arranged a $25 million funding. We have closed on the $5 million silver stream with Empress Royalties. The first tranche has been paid. It's just $2 million. We completed a $8 million or 10 million Canadian dollar equity private placements very recently. And all we have left is to complete this $12 million loan facility with Ascendo Banco, which we believe will be documentation will be complete and executed before the end of this month. That allows us a full funded package. You can see $22 million will be available for the construction of the project after paying down debt to Trafigura and having general working capital to reach our goals. So we have plenty of money available to complete construction. Our construction is about a $15 million estimate to complete and get the mine up and running. As mentioned, Trevor just mentioned, we just announced a board restructuring. We've brought a lot of very good talent onto the board. So the development of the company has been able to allow us to attract some very senior people. For example, David Rhodes, chairman and the director of Telson, one of the senior members of Endeavor Financial. They're getting behind us in a large way and really helping us move forward. And then we've brought in some very good talent of technical group with Tom Kelly, Mark Bailey, myself with a lot of experience in our exploration and development. On the legal side of things, Natasha Kiernan has just come on board. So we've really strengthened up our board of directors. You can read more about all of these people within this presentation or on our website where there's more detail. And finally, we'll refer to Armando Alexandri, our new COO, who has a lot of mine build experience and will be pushing through and helping build Tabahueto and help us achieve our increasing recoveries at Campo Morado. So let's look at our Tabahueto project. It's in construction. We expect to be initiating production late 2021 and ramping up to full production in 2022. It will be, when it's in production, likely one of the 4 top highest grade gold producers in Mexico. Not the most gold, but higher grade producer. This is a view of our resources. So if you look here, probable resources at 3.2 million tons at a high gold content of 3.4 grams per ton gold, 41 silver, plus our base metals. And then on an M&I basis, there's 6 million tons. That includes the reserves at 2.48 tons. So this M&I additional tonnage gives us extended mine life at the project. So right now, 9-year mine life. M&I can increase that up to 20 years, producing around 42,000 ounces of gold equivalent over the first 5 years of production at an all-in sustaining cost of approximately $808 per gold equivalent ounce. That's remaining capital to spend to finish the construction is $15.7 million, which is all raised, and our NPV at about $109 million at this point in time. Next slide. A little bit of guidance on what we're expecting to achieve. So you can see on the right-hand side of the pie chart, gold will be about 69% of the production at Tabahueto. So our precious metal content contributing to revenue at Tabahueto will be in the neighborhood of 70% of metals produced. This is our production profile, and you can see the all-in sustaining cost of around $800 per ton in that graph, bar graph on the left-hand side. So Tabahueto, mine development and construction. As I mentioned before, we're about 60% complete on the construction of the mill. Underground development is 90% complete to access at least the first 2 to 3 years of production. Construction activities resumed in April of this year, and we're going to be ramping those up upon closing the final Ascendo Banco tranche. We're targeting initial production in 2021, ramping up to full-scale production in 2022. The graph on the right just shows you the capital expenditures. The revised budget we've worked on has allowed us to bring in a build and operate power supply, which has reduced the cost of our power. So we'll be paying for power as it's being produced for us on site. So this is just some photos of the construction of the project. On the left, you can see the mill being fabricated there. That's installing the ball mills will be coming in over the next few months. Camp over on the right, just various shots to give you a feel for the advanced state of the construction. And then our timeline at Tabahueto. So if you hear, in April, we recommenced production. So April recommenced construction activities. We executed the Silverstream agreement, got a $2 million advance there, and the $12 million term loan facility should be closed before the end of this month in May, which will give us all of the money we're required to get the project built. So ramping up in November, December to 500 tons per day, and in Q1 next year, 1,000 tons per day, ramping up to full commercial production, probably Q2 to Q3 in 2022. So we'll talk a little bit now about the exploration potential in the project. So Telson presents great growth opportunities. This is a longitudinal section along the main zone that we have drilled. This is really primarily the only structure we have drilled. And you can see here that all of the ore bodies, if they're outlined in a little teal color like this, that's a reserve. If they're not outlined down in here, these are resources. And you can see all of these are open to depth. We have not found the limits of the ore bodies that we have drilled so far. It just has become too expensive to drill from surface, so we'll have to explore those from underground. This is a district scale project, and this area in here between the Creston and Santiago has not been drilled. It's too much overlying cover, but we have drifted in here about 200 meters, and we're in mineralization all the way along. So I believe that this whole area through here will continue to prove up these types of ore bodies you can see over in the left. That should allow us about another third expansion to our resources just within that area. These zones continue to the north, so off the slide for at least another kilometer or so, and I believe they continue this way for several kilometers underneath, again, younger rock that does not allow us to drill them from surface. So that would all be work we would have to do from underground. There has been no exploration drilling since 2011, and the next slide I'm going to show you gives you a bit more of a view of the overall district. So Tabahueto is recognized as a mineralized district, and Telson owns about 83% of the prospective ground within that district. Our concessions are outlined in blue, and the only competitor we have in this district is Fresnillo, at the sliver of ground all the way around that internal block of concessions. We have only explored and drilled along this one major structure to here. That we haven't been able to drill it there. We've drilled it and found it again on this side. It actually goes all the way down into the river here. That's about 3.4 kilometers from here to here. And I believe you can see this overlying rock cover. I believe it extends down to here. We see high level alteration down in this area. And our most northerly showing is up in here. That's over a 7.5 kilometer strike length on this extensive structurally prepared package of ground. You can see all of this area over here is covered in rhyolite ignimbrite younger rock. We cannot see the underlying productive rock. My belief is that these structures that you see all through here will repeat themselves over in here, but that that's just a lot of future exploration potential. Right where in this window where we actually have explored and developed, you see we've only drilled along these red structures, a couple through here. All of these yellow are their known structures with veins that have yet to be drilled, other than Tex Glamour, where we drilled 6 holes in there and found similar mineralization as we see along our mainly explored structure so far. So this is a lot of future potential. We believe that this district will grow into a major mineralized district and provide a long life to the mine. We really believe it's like a mini San Dimas mining district that has been essentially unexplored, and we're going to get it into production and then expand off of that. We believe we can bring this project to 2,000 to 3,000 tons per day over the next 2 to 3, 4 years with exploration success. So to expand it 2 or 3 times our current 1,000 ton per day operation that we're building. So let's talk a little bit about Campo Morado. Campo is shown in this picture. It's a polymetallic mine. It's the 6th largest zinc producer in Mexico. Our resources are 16.6 million tons of resources, M&I resources. Note the high-grade nature of the precious metals. This is a high-grade precious metal volcanogenic massive sulfide deposit. Our difficulty is we don't get a lot of this gold out. The precious metals are refractory. However, we're putting a full court press on metallurgy. We have a pathway that's gone through first phase testing to show that these precious metal recoveries can be significantly increased. There's at least 7 zones known to date that are big, massive sulfide mineralization that we're mining some of them. We're processing about 2,200 tons per day. We declared commercial production in May 2018, suspended operations for 6 months in 2019 due to low zinc prices and some difficulties with the communities. And then we're in Q3 2020, we produced 6.6 million tons of zinc. So we've steadily been increasing. This resources provide over a 20-year mine life, 30 million pounds of zinc on an annual basis, currently producing zinc, and all in C1 cash cost, so it's a project cost all in of $1 per ton, more or less. And we produced $2 million of EBITDA in April 2021. Some photographs of the facilities at the Campo Morado. It's a well-established mine, a great camp over on the upper left-hand corner. I want to draw your attention to this middle photo and these yellow flotation circuits here. This was being developed by Nearstar, was 80% complete. Nearstar was the former owner of the mine. When they shut down the mine, when we purchased it, we got the benefit of all of that equipment. We're investigating to bring that new circuit online maybe later this year, early next year, which would add 1,000 tons per day to our production. And this slide just really demonstrates the improvements we've been having quarter over quarter, both in production of ore processed as well as net revenues. So our ore production has been increasing steadily over the past 3 quarters, as is the revenues. And the revenues both from increased production, but also from increased metal prices, which have really helped out the project. And zinc production by ton on a quarterly basis, again, all of these show an increase. So we've been really cleaning up the project and making it run efficiently and much, much more profitable. So where do we see Campo Morado going? Where are the growth opportunities? So there's a number of growth opportunities that we can show you. So we see near-term expansion in that flotation circuit that's 80% complete. We're expect to investigate that, bring the engineering up to speed, and potentially bring that online later this year, early next year. We're optimizing the precious metal recoveries. Now, this is a really important part of our investigations at Campo Morado. There's been 2 processes that were tested by the former owner, Nearstar. Went through first phase testing. One was this leach ox process. The other was the Albion process. And these are processes designed to oxidize the tailings or the concentrate and then leach them to recover the gold and precious metals. First phase leach ox testing saw increases in gold production up to 65%. It's a 400% increase from what we are getting at the moment. And silver's 81% up, silver recovers up to 80%. That's a 200% increase from what we're getting. So this is a very important pathway for us to potentially increase revenue at the project. So we're bringing on a pilot plant should arrive on site in the next 45 days, and we'll have a 3-4 month high-level metallurgical testing program to test all of these and also to test the potential to increase base metal recoveries. If these processes are successful, that gives us the ability to process the historic tailings. And there's over 280,000 ounces of gold equivalent with gold and silver only in those tailings because of the refractory nature. It was just pushed through to the tailings and not recovered in previous mining. So again, we would hope to reprocess those tailings with success in the leach ox or Albion process testing. We also have a lot of near-term growth potential with large-scale anomalies on the project that need to be followed up and drilled. They're all drill ready. And over a long-term expansion, if we have success in our exploration, when we start exploration, we could envision a potential doubling of the size of the Campo Morado mine if there's sufficient ore found in the exploration programs to support that. So let's talk a little bit about the exploration. So these next 2 slides will show you the future potential that we see. This area, this slide on the lower right, shows you the ore bodies that we know of to date. So G9 Southwest Zone was mined extensively by previous owners. There's still 5 million tons of ore in there. 70% is in pillars. We are currently mining this El Largo zone, and we're going to be moving to this Naranjo zone, Naranjo South and Naranjo North, early next year. And those are more of a copper-rich zone, so we'll be switching out some of our production to a copper. The El Rey and the Reforma ore bodies are more refractory. They seem to be further away from the better mineralization to the south. Nearstar had done a lot of geophysics, borehole geophysics from underground drill holes, and they developed these types of anomalies. You can see in this slide here, this to locate it, this here is the El Largo, which is this one here again. And these are all very high level geophysical anomalies that are yet to be drilled. And it appears that there's a second horizon potentially underneath the existing ore bodies. Nearstar did drill a few holes into some of these, for example, in the southwest zone, and they hit good, solid intersections of mineralization. So these need to be followed up. And we would hope to be able to continue to explore in these areas and develop ore bodies that we can access from the existing underground mine workings. If we go to the next slide, this is shows you more of a regional exploration potential. All of the ore bodies I was showing you are located within this little blue ellipse area in here. And Nearstar had developed a lot of surface targets with geophysics and geochemistry. These are all drill ready. So geochemical anomalies, geophysical anomalies, they have to be located and drilled. And we have the potential of bringing in new massive sulfide zones on any one of those targets. So that shows you a lot of regional exploration potential, as well as the internal exploration potential within the underground mine. This area, the area of Guerrero where our project is located, is host to many, many large ore bodies. I've shown here, Rey de la Plata, Peñoles, Tizapa mine, large zinc mine, Anapala, gold project, and El Limon, which is Torex, 3.1 million ounces of gold. So there's a lot of good company within this area of Guerrero. It's really known as the Guerrero Gold Belt. Moving on, this next slide just shows you upcoming milestones. I'm going to not spend a lot of time in here because I see our time's running down, but you can look at these. Really what this shows is that we will be delivering news on a steady basis to the markets over the rest of 2021 into 2022, and some very significant news as well as we continue to move the projects forward and bring Tabaweto on stream. Capital markets profile. We're trading currently in the 47-cent range. Market trading range 8 cents to 62 cents over the last year, and outstanding shares 252 million. Shares issued, options 10 million, warrants 68 million. On a fully diluted basis, we have about 330 million shares would be issued if all of those warrants and options were taken down. Current market capitalization about $118 million, and we have around $9 million of cash currently. When we close our Ascendo Banco loan, that will take us up to the $21 million level in cash. Loan debt is considerable, $32 million, primarily owed to Trafigura and Nearstar. We have an enterprise value calculated at about $152 million right now. Our shareholder base is fairly well held. Management, 31%, close associates of management, and there's actually a Chinese group in here that owns probably about 8% of the company. Institutional ownership around 24%, which gives us a 34% float. And we've had a steady increase in our share price since April 2020, increasing up through here. And we expect once we get the financing completed and construction moving on, that this will continue to appreciate, to find its true value over the coming months and early into next year with Tabaweto on stream. So what does that mean to investors? Well, we have a very compelling valuation currently, and we are gearing up to have Telson to be a re-rated company in re-rating to a precious metal producer from a zinc producer at this point in time. So we're trading at about 2 times our EBITDA for the estimates of 2022. That gives us a steep discount to polymetallic Mexican mining producers, 80% discount to polymetallic Mexican mining producers, and a 50% discount to the average junior gold producer. So that's why we believe we have a very compelling story that would be an excellent investment for people in the mining investment game, especially for precious metals. And sort of wrapping things up, Telson has a strong ESG program in place on the environmental side of it. We're working with trying to bring in green energy production. So at Campo Morado, we're investigating the possibility of bringing in solar power to be able to pump power back into the grid, which would reduce our power costs there. At Tabahueto, one of our main initiatives is to power this mine with gas-fired generation power plants. So that will reduce our greenhouse footprint. It also is the bad benefit of being more economical for us as well, but it's really a good situation to bring that self-generated power with gas to reduce carbon emissions. Social, we have helped the communities in both our projects. Tabahueto, we've really helped by bringing in clean, fresh water, sanitation. We are helping them with improvement for the roads. We built a first school in Tabahueto back in the exploration stages, and we will bring that school back into operation once we are further along in the construction. We built a medical clinic for the locals to come and brought doctors in on a weekly basis to do examinations for local people. Same thing at Campo Morado. We're employing over 200 people, local people at Campo Morado, and we have a strong policy within the company to hire whenever possible and as much as possible from local communities. And our corporate governance is high standards. We have our new directors coming in. One of those directors is a corporate governance specialist, which will continue to develop our corporate governance. So wrapping things up, again, Telson is a great opportunity, in our opinion. We're Mexico's next mid-tier diversified metals producer, showing slow growing, stable cash flow, emerging multi-mine producer with both projects, especially when Tabahueto comes on stream. We are fully funded to realize our production at Tabahueto. We have a large resource base with great exploration potential on both of our projects, which should allow organic growth and expansion of those two mines. Proven management and board able to get things sorted out with Trafi and our previous difficulties and find a pathway to get the project into production. And so we are showing a re-rating opportunity in the near future to be a gold producer. And that is the presentation for now. I will hand it back to Trevor, who can initiate the Q&A, I guess.
Great, thanks, Ralph. That was a very thorough presentation. So we'll now turn to the Q&A portion of the webinar. And just a reminder to everybody on the line that you can type in your questions at any point into the chat box. So we do have a number that have come in already. I'll just kind of start from the beginning. First question, what is the expected CapEx to expand Campo Morado from 2,000 to 3,000 tons? And then secondly, from 3,000 to 5,000 tons?
Okay, so from 2,000 to 3,000 tons per day, we don't have a good CapEx number on that yet. We have to bring that engineering study. The engineering study was initially completed by the former operator in probably 2012, 2013. So we have to bring that up to current prices. But if I was going to write it on the back of a napkin, I would predict between $5 to $7 million, potentially less, because all of equipment is there. It's just a matter of labor and installation and getting it up on stream. To go to 5,000 tons per day, that's the one I won't be able to give you any real good feel at this point in time. And it really needs exploration success. So that would require money being spent on exploration. And with that, we would be able to cost out the expansion, but it would be considerably more. But I really don't have a good number for that.
Right. And then right now with the exploration, it's all kind of conceptual at this point. You don't have any concrete exploration at Campo Morado. Right now, you're mainly focused on the operational, the metallurgy testing and all that.
Yeah,
right?
that's correct. We really don't have excess funds to start exploration. we have the targets all ready to go. So as soon as we are healthy enough to direct some funds to exploration, then we will start to explore again.
Great. Okay, next question up. What is the negotiated silver price for the silver stream? What is the internal rate of return if you offset the fund's receipts against the obligation to deliver silver for a below market price or market price?
Well, let me explain the silver stream then. So we are going to be delivering 100% of the silver probably in the first 4 to 5 years. So as soon as we deliver 1.25 million ounces of silver, that's 100%. And then after that period of time, we drop down to 20% of produced silver being delivered to Empress for a maximum of 10 years. At the 10th year, the stream disappears and goes away. So it's just a 1 year or 10-year stream, front end loaded at 1.25 million ounces, 100% of the silver.
Okay.
And the spot prices, so would be what we deliver silver at spot prices.
Right. Okay. Next question. Any serious plans to uplist in the US to OTC, QB, or QX, or even NASDAQ?
Yes. The simple answer is yes. So right now we are in the process of an uplisting to the QB board on the OTC. I expect 1 more month, 45 days, that should be complete. And as far as listing on the big board, as soon as we are able to and qualify, our intent is to do that.
Okay. Next question. Are you benefiting from recently lower zinc concentrate treatment costs?
Most definitely. It's a simple answer.
Yeah. Okay. Kind of on that same theme, I guess. What are the plans to increase the concentrate grades of the zinc and lead cons? It seems like the person asking the question seems to believe that you're incurring penalties right now since it's not up to the desired specs. Is that accurate?
Yeah, so our zinc con is pretty good. So but I mean, being a polymetallic project, there are penalties for various elements. Our plans to increase are substantial, and it's like I said, the full court press we are putting on the metallurgical testing will give us a pathway to increase both base metal recoveries as well as precious metal recoveries. Specifically, the base metals, we're bringing on a specialized flotation testing plant called IMAFLOT flotation, and it's designed to solve some of the microfine grind problems with recovery. So we have to take Campo Morado ore down to quite a fine grind in order to liberate the metal. And when you do that, traditional standard flotation cells don't seem to be able to do a good job at the recoveries. So this IMAFLOT flotation would compete with the Jameson cell flotation. And the pilot plant we're bringing on is the IMAFLOT flotation. So we hope to be able to prove that at a microfine grind, we can really increase our base metal recoveries. And we'll be testing the Jameson cell as well with the core group out of Australia.
Okay. And again, on the metallurgical testing, maybe just we have a question asking about when do you envision leach ox / Albion testing might resume, and how long do you think it'll take to yield results one way or the other?
So the testing is actually being organized now. We're getting some proposals from the core group. We already have the proposal from the Algwin engineering group. That's the pilot plant. So when the pilot plant arrives to site, which probably is in 1 month to 45 days, it's just getting shipped now. We'll have at least a 3-month program. We may extend that and do more work, but we should have a really good handle within 3 months of both the base metals as well as the precious metal recoveries for leach ox. The core group on the Albion process, as soon as we have finalized their proposal and start supplying them with material, that can get underway. So I would again estimate that in the next month to 2 months that work would be underway. Okay.
And then if the leach ox is successful, would the recovered precious metals go to the concentrates, or would you produce a gold or silver doré?
Well, we think that by increasing the recoveries, especially in the lead circuit, that we'll get more precious metals right away just from those increased base metal recoveries. But the actual leach ox, we'll have to go through the testing to decide whether we're going to oxidize the concentrates or oxidize the tails or oxidize both to go through that process, either the Albion or the leach ox process. So too early to give a specific answer. We're going to try all ways to find the best way to increase the precious metal recoveries.
Okay. Switching gears a little bit from the metallurgy, have you considered solar panels and lithium battery banks to power your operations?
We have certainly considered solar panels. At this point, we haven't dug into the lithium power storage capabilities. We would envision, we've been working with a number of solar energy producers in Mexico with the possibility of putting a solar bank up, initially at Campo Morado, because the grid power is there and we can put power back in as well to the grid, which would allow us to reduce our cost on site. At Tabahueto, certainly the same thing. Solar powers, any solar powered energy, if it can be accomplished economically, can reduce our fuel consumption to generate our own power. So the simple answer is yes, we're looking into that.
Great. A bit on the exploration side, have you used artificial intelligence to help in the targeting exercise?
Well, I'm not exactly sure what that question refers to. I need to know more.
Probably with generating targets, exploration targets at either property, if you've used any kind of IA or AI methods.
Well, we really, to be honest, I still don't understand what specific artificial intelligence methods the questionnaire would be asking, and he's more than welcome to get to emails to me or to call me on that for more specific information. But we really have not done any exploration since 2011. They're just the industry has not supported funding to exploration on our projects up until just recently, and we've been concentrating on improving the operations and the cash flows and the production so that we have more funding for exploration and not necessarily have to dilute with equity to explore.
Right. I think it was a bit, he submitted a bit of a clarification. He says machine learning, for example, can be used to find trends in the data and pinpoint a target, as you suggested. Probably
okay.
just, yeah.
So it's a real dig deeply into the data and yeah. So again, we haven't done any exploration for a while, so no, but we have been doing a lot of statistical analysis on our production at Campo Morado to try to improve recoveries and processing through the mill, and it has helped us. Some of the things we found have helped out a lot.
Right. Okay.
So I think we would be very interested in doing that thing once we get back into exploration.
Right. Okay. Perfect. So then, we're starting to get out of time here, but maybe you could just talk a bit about the transformation that's going on. You're almost done securing that the financing package. You've revamped the board and management team. Construction's underway. Metallurgical testing is about to start. What else, if anything, is left as you head towards the end of the year and kind of get everything straightened out?
Well, I mean, we're really concentrating on getting Tabahueto built and up into production. Certainly, that's the highest priority. Improving efficiencies at Campo Morado and the recoveries at Campo Morado are certainly as important to us. And that's really the concentration we're working on. We would love to get exploring. I would love to have some money and start drilling again at Tabahueto. I think we can bring that project very quickly to have enough exploration success quickly to justify an expansion from 1,000 tons per day to 2 or even 3,000 tons per day over the next 2 to 3, 4 years. I envision Tabahueto to be a similar mine to La Cienega, which is a Fresnillo operation. It's about 85 kilometers to our south, polymetallic gold producer. They're producing 3,000 tons a day. So Tabahueto has certainly that style of potential. And with all of the exploration targets in the mineralized district we have, I think it's going to be a very, very long-term producer, way, way longer than the life of mine we have planned right now.
Great. And I guess kind of on that note, are there any final thoughts you'd like to leave with investors before we wrap up? Any key catalysts or things to look forward to?
Well, I would just, invite you to dig in, look at our company a little bit more. I think we have some fantastic things we're doing, and I believe we're going to have great success over the coming months. Getting Tawetu in production transforms us into a precious metal producer. Any additional improvements with precious metal recoveries at Campo Morado will only add to that. And we're in a mining market again. I mean, it looks like we could be in one of these cycles developing up to a mining super cycle. So if that's true, then we are in very, very good space here at Telson right now.
Great. I think that's a good way to end the webinar. So I'd like to thank Ralph from Telson Mining for taking the time to host the webinar today with Red Cloud Securities. And I'd like to thank everybody on the line for tuning in with us.
Thank you very much, Trevor. Thanks, listeners. I appreciate you coming in and learning more about Telson.